Look up at the sky right now. Chances are, you will see a white trail slicing through the blue. But what if those trails are not what you think they are? What if the government has been spraying us with toxic chemicals from airplanes for decades? And we have just been breathing it in. Welcome to the world of chemtrails. One of the most persistent and fascinating conspiracy theories of the 21st century. Around 10% of Americans fully believe that the long white streaks left by airplanes are actually a secret government spraying program. Another 30% say it is somewhat true. That is nearly half the country. So what is really going on up there? The chemtrail conspiracy theory was born in the late 1990s. It traces back to a 1996 United States Air Force paper called Weather as a Force Multiplier, Owning the Weather in 2025. That paper was a fictional scenario imagining how weather modification could be used for military dominance in the year 2025. It was never a real plan. But it leaked into internet forums and radio shows hosted by conspiracy legend Art Bell, and the idea took off. Suddenly, people started looking at the sky differently. So what do chemtrail believers actually claim? The core idea is that the government and its elite allies are spraying toxic chemicals from airplanes for nefarious purposes. The list of alleged goals is long. Population control, weather modification, mind control, testing biological weapons, even electromagnetic superweapons connected to HAARP. And the evidence they point to seems convincing at first glance. Persistent trails that last for hours. Crisscross patterns in the sky. Unmarked military aircraft flying at unusual altitudes. Strange metallic tasting air after planes pass overhead. Soil samples that show elevated levels of barium and aluminum. But every single one of these claims has a scientific explanation. Persistent contrails are actually just normal contrails that form in specific atmospheric conditions. When the upper atmosphere is humid enough, the ice crystals in contrails do not evaporate. They spread out and form cirrus clouds that can last for hours. The crisscross patterns are simply the result of multiple aircraft flying along common air traffic routes. And the metallic taste people report after planes pass overhead? That is almost certainly a placebo effect or a coincidence. In 2000, the EPA, FAA, NASA, and NOAA jointly published a fact sheet explaining the science of contrails. Believers saw this as proof of a cover-up. In 2005, the U.S. Air Force released a statement calling the chemtrail notion a hoax and stating that the Air Force is not conducting any weather modification experiments. Again, believers saw this as proof that the government was hiding something. This is the hallmark of a conspiracy theory: the more evidence you provide, the more convinced the believers become. Even Edward Snowden weighed in on this. In a 2019 interview on the Joe Rogan Experience, Snowden said, and I quote, "In case you were wondering, chemtrails are not a thing. I had ridiculous access to the networks of the NSA, the CIA, the military. I could not find anything." If Edward Snowden could not find evidence of chemtrails, what does that tell you? There is a fascinating psychological dimension to this belief. Researchers have found that chemtrail believers often describe a conversion experience. They wake up to the truth and become advocates. They join online communities where everyone agrees with them, and the algorithm feeds them more and more confirming content. The theory is incredibly flexible. When new information comes along, it simply adapts. A 1996 Air Force paper becomes proof of a 20-year cover-up. A government fact sheet becomes proof of the conspiracy. The theory can never be disproven because every attempt to debunk it is just more evidence. In recent years, the chemtrail theory has taken a new turn. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who is now the U.S. Secretary of Health and Human Services, has publicly supported the theory. Several states have passed or considered laws banning chemtrails, even though they do not exist. Florida passed such a law in 2025. The theory has merged with legitimate concerns about climate change, geoengineering, and government transparency. This is why it persists. It taps into real anxieties about the environment, our health, and whether we can trust the people in power. So here is the truth. The trails you see in the sky are contrails. Plain and simple. Condensation trails. Water vapor freezing around jet exhaust at 40,000 feet. They are not poisoning you. They are not controlling your mind. They are not a secret government program. The science is clear. Every major scientific organization on the planet has looked into this and found nothing. But the belief persists because it is not really about the trails. It is about trust. It is about feeling powerless in a world that is increasingly complex and opaque. Let me leave you with one more powerful thought. In 2022, Harvard researchers published a peer-reviewed study on chemtrails. Their conclusion was simple. A large-scale cover-up of this nature would be impossible given the number of people involved. The military, the airlines, the air traffic controllers, the scientists, the fuel manufacturers, everyone would have to be in on it. And after 25 years, not a single whistleblower has come forward with credible evidence. Not one. So the next time you see a white trail in the sky, you can look up with confidence. It is just water vapor. It is science. And the truth is far less scary than the fiction. If you enjoyed this video, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We put out new videos every single day breaking down the biggest conspiracy theories and the science behind them. And let us know in the comments, did you already know the truth about chemtrails, or did this video change your mind?